We have Ken Jones and Zach Wise here, Eat, Sleep, Poetry, Repeat at this dear nocturne radio station.
So, flashback almost 8 years ago, I first met this cat at Barnes & Noble's reading selections from his chapbook at the time, Bones of Rebellion. I had met many different poets from around the world, and I knew this cat was different somehow. I was immediately mesmerized. I had to talk to him. I had to pick his brain. Since then, I've been hooked to his work. He's also written other books like Mr. Karma, Pleiades from the Pleiades, Pearls of Passion, Dormant Volcano, and Ceaseless Combat and Greasepaint Stance. Ceaseless Greasepaint and Combat Stance.
You got it, dude. Very
cool.
Good.
Cool. Awesome. And with that, here he is, in the flesh, in all his glory, Ken Jones.
Powerful
Yeah,
people.
that was a powerful introduction, Zach. It's actually more of my own names in my books than I do sometimes. And I want to say it quickly. I do remember the first time I met Zach. He was a innocent young babe in the woods. And I did have a chapbook called Bones of Rebellion at the time. And he came up there and was in line. And I don't know if you had a rental unit with you at that point, I believe.
My father, yeah.
He had the rents with him. And he came in line, and there was quite a nice crowd that day. I sold some chapbooks, and we started talking, and I know he was a huge fan of Jim Morrison, as we all are, and we started talking about music and life, and ever since then, both he and Dustin have been super supportive of my work, which I appreciate, and I want to now show the new book I've got on Transcendent Zero Press, which is Life Expectancy, which has kind of a double meaning. If you look at the cover, this is Hieronymus Bosch, and the graphic design artist, Susie Tomini, put my face into a Hieronymus Bosch picture, which is apparently me being strangled in some way by a griffin or some kind of mythological creature. In any event, what happened is I left Houston right after Harvey, and I put a bunch of my work into Rubbermaid containers and was starting to sort through it. And I said, well, I'm reaching that age in life, maybe the September of my year, so hopefully not December, where I need to start thinking about what I've done in the past and what I've done in the future. And I happen to have all these basically typed up already. They were unpublished poems from when I was a kid in the 1980s. So basically they were written from about the time I was, I'd say, 17 to 27, 16 to 26. So it's kind of interesting to read from this. This is only the third time I've read from this book. But I'm going to do a special targeted reading for all of you because I know Dustin and I have exchanged some emails about the vicissitudes of romance. So I have a few poems I wrote for my college girlfriends in here. So I'm going to start with those because why not? So here is the good part of love. It's called The Wave. The empty, aching image of your slowly breaking smile explodes over my mind. A wave of saving knowledge, still haunted by the miles that tally every gesture, color every idle thought. The water flows through, thrills my gills, the throat of heart caught. By the choking air I must caress, my arms stroking the emptiness.
I love the way you incorporate like evolutionary science and stuff in there.
And you did discuss that in a couple of your reviews of my work, which we exchanged. So I'm going to read a couple of those in just a minute because, as somebody was pointing out last night, I had a lot of fixation with anthropology and evolutionary science back then. Sociobiology, they used to call that discipline. And hominid seems to pop up in this book a lot. It's something I was obsessed with. I actually took a class in college called primate behavior. We have to go to UT and observe primates at the monkey lab, vervet and Sykes primates, in their natural habitat. We had to do 5-minute observations of each of the monkeys, and it was fascinating. Think of how humans are basically monkeys. It was quite an influence on me. If you looked at their fingernails, you really saw the resemblance. So I will get to those, but I want also, before I do that, I want to do the dark side of love. Because love goes from good to bad sometimes.
Yep.
So here's a remarkably angry poem I wrote at one point when we were broken up, and then we got back together and broke up and got back together, as you're wont to do in your 20s. White Witch Hollow. Yes, yes, your eyes lie, the sparkle of a dark witch. Your eyes lie in volumes that fill rooms. Your eyes lie like spit and shit between the temples. Your eyes lie, the vicious disease of stupidity. Your eyes lie, mine-shafted, hollow-bottomed. Your eyes lie, forged steel cleats of deceit. Your eyes lie, for they sleep soundly, because they're empty, 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 like their loving owner, who deserves to die. Yes, yes, your eyes lie beside you now, White Witch Hollow. Yeah, thank you. And it's funny how much the anger and love are two sides of the same coin, right? Sometimes I think you can't write an angry poem unless you love the person, and it was a bad ending. But I did love her, and if Jackie Painter has seen this somewhere in the midst of the universe, I will always love you. You were my first love. Yeah, there's all kinds of things. Let's go to the...
Turn sappy now.
I know. Right? Hey, let's go to the evolutionary biology. Dustin likes a few of these, so I'll do a few of these. Infinite sameness. Bored carnivores lounge on a plane. They shat and ate, then humped their mate. At a reflex yawn, they gather extra oxygen and wait until their satiation dissipates. Then boredom returns.
I always knew that's what monkeys do.
Oh.
The whole thing is based on monkeys.
Oh, that vicious cycle.
It is, the cycle of life. And this is all about that, too, because I had a buddy of mine when I was in the music business in Austin, punk rock guy. He got a, I shouldn't say this, but I will. He got a 15-year-old girl pregnant. She was at this little club called the Beach Cabaret. She looked 21, right? So wherever you are, Jerry Dog, sorry, it's statute of limitations is expired. But I remember babysitting this baby, and I wrote this poem, babysitting his son. He's probably now, who knows how old he is. But innocent piss. Failure to crawl for the small child signifies all. Lack of locomotion breeds bad emotion. He grimaces at the waist. Hear him scream. He knows only his needs. Nutrients for his nuclei. Random visual stimuli pacifies. Fear to die. Fear to die. All right, I love the clipping of it. Yeah, that's very beat oriented, isn't it?
You do a beatboxing.
Right? I'm gonna do the title part. There's another one. That's right. We were I had another theme back then. Homo Americanus, American man.
Right.
Life expectancy. So here's what you have to look forward to in life. I thought this in my mid-20s. Life expectancy. Homo Americanus emerges in the sterile hospital, then behind bars in a cradle. Variable years in a cubicle. Variable years in school. To labor in a cubicle. With the title of professional. Then content, full, and dull, in piner plastic, submerges.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Whew.
I know.
That's
right?
it.
It is so, I was a brutal realist in my youth. I got a lot happier. I was really an asshole in these things.
Is that based on Erickson's stages of development?
It is. I've reversed Piaget's stages. I'm now, much more happy. But this is my view of, again, growing up. Survival of the litter runt. to suck milk like a child, hit the flat, cracked ground, teeter to your feet for a spot on teat, battle blood brothers and sisters to parasite off mother, in heat beating ceaselessly on your back, your loin companions' backs, mother's back, sagging under her burden. You're her burden. Feel it in paw swats on your sweating head. You slip from your spot on teat, emitting an animal wail from your vocal orifice. This is the moment of birth and death.
Ooh.
Severe storm warnings in effect. Creatures great and small all feel Earth's heat and cold and waste, share the atmosphere, adapt to persevere. The bitter weather throws us all together.
Huh. Harvey prediction?
Yeah, right, exactly. I was just thinking that. Yeah, there's a Harvey element to that, right?
Every Harvey thing.
Well, here's another one. There is a theme. You know, I grew up in Corpus.
Oh,
So I lived through hurricanes during my youth. So it was ingrained in me. I saw the neighbor's roof blow off when I was like 5 years old and land on our tetherball pole in the backyard. So I've got hurricanes in my bloodstream. So here's a couple that kind of have that. Wooden man. Wood adrift floats purposeless. The hows of formation, the whys of destination, not ingrained. Battered and beaten, it threatens to splinter in the rising tide's mindless surge, helplessly bobbing in hopeless ignorance, awaiting decay. Here's another cheerful one. I know, all these end with death and killing. It's kind of like, I don't know. So I'll read this one about death again, and then I'll read about another girl I dated in my 80s. Talk about her in a second. Microorganisms. In the open spaces, space opens to encompass the pompous and base. A canvas beyond mortal ken does exist, though it wears a false face. A sick, mystic statistic in the ledger of man's adaptations. Still they use a urinal and swill the chemical alcohol, worship the artificial over the rougher natural. Its violence makes them seem ill. But all creatures in nature, from parasites to hominides, haughty heights, kill. They kill. All animals kill. All animals kill. Thank you. And now this is a poem for Wendy, who is still a friend of mine, Wendy. So if you see this, thank you for being my friend after what happened in our relationship. But I was studying medieval drama at the time in graduate school. There's a concept called psychomachia, which will be apparent when I read the poem, but it kind of, I won't even define it. I'll just let the poem speak for itself. Gold chains and blonde strands descend gracefully to the nape of her neck. But fungal growths and ruptured veins map reality more mimetically. Her scars are desire's angels. I live for a shot of her snot, to playfully fluff her dandruff, then watch her squat. Her urine, sweet, sweet syrup to me. I accept the waste of her body as sacrament and liturgy.
Oh boy.
Oh yes, you could do a whole psychoanalysis on that one, couldn't you?
That says it all.
Hey, women, keep the bathroom door open when you're dating me. All right, that's ooh, so bad, so bad. Okay, I'll read a few more. Let's go to the back of the book. I want to read a couple. If you went to UT in the 80s, you will remember there was a preacher, a campus preacher. She was this crazy woman called Sister Cindy. Sister Cindy, for those of you who were there, hooking with the devil, Sister Cindy would stand out on the drag, right out in front of the drag in 23rd or 24th Street, right where they sold all the egg rolls, 2 egg rolls for 50 cents, fueled many a UT student in the 80s. And she would stand there preaching how we were all going to hell, and we were all sinners and fornicators. And she wore this tattered coat, and she wore this crazy hat like a witch. And I wrote this poem freshman year. It's true. It's a true story. And anyone who was there will remember this portrait of Sister Cindy. So I thought, what makes Sister Cindy so angry? So, yes, that's one way of phrasing it. So this is for Sister Cindy. Sister Cindy, with your tattered flasher coat, scraggly hair like the beard of a billy goat, ski slope nose under ice blue eyes, preaching screeching diatribes under darkening skies. The sinners stroll by, some stop to listen, as you try to save them from the sin of fornication. Women are sluts, men are operators. What makes you so despise fornicators? Did your daddy once knock on your pink bedroom door and crawl across the snow-white throw rug on the floor to plow into you to deflower your box as the hour struck midnight from the church's chiming clock? Now, no one wants to give you the rod, so every evening you're rammed by God. You clutch your hat, legs straight in the air. The two of you make an attractive pair, your jagged mouth screaming bitter words of hate, making everyone realize how God's love is great.
Nope.
So brutal, man. So brutal. Yeah.
Good description.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's visualize.
Yeah, you can see that, can't you? Well, I've got I was really a very brutal kid, you know. I had a lot of mental problems for my upbringing. So I'm going to read a couple more brutal ones that ended on a high note. So in school, and all those of us who are poets here know about William Carlos Williams, obviously. I had to read In the American Grain, which is all about some of his poetic theories on Americanism. And in this era, you already heard what I was like in this era. So this was my sophomore year creative writing class. I wrote In the American Train, dedicated to William Carlos Williams.
Nice.
America is trains. Train. Pulling Pullman sleepers, bound for vaudeville towns, stars yet undiscovered, singing in the aisle while their father contracts smallpox. Baby dripping shit onto a plastic potty. Ronald McDonald's hat. A line of large black acrobats repeatedly raping a lily-white Liberty Bell, sticking snowflake earrings sideways up her crack.
Oh.
I know, I'll tell you what.
That was in the 1980s.
Yeah, I wrote it in 83 because I can still remember when I wrote it. I was in Creative Writing 1 with Professor David Weddle, and my girlfriend Jackie had gotten these snowflake earrings, and she was wearing them around, and I just saw her wearing them, and I thought, well, what's the most brutal image I could think of? And I had her vagina on my mind a lot at that point in time, and so I thought, wow, what if you took these earrings and shoved them sideways? And that was the brutality of the image. And oh, what a disturbed young man I was. All right. And speaking of which, Disneyland of Death.
Oh.
2 minutes amid the weeping, wailing, and gnashing of teeth will silence your lying cry forever. The perfume of putrid epidermis singes your nostril hairs. Drink the wine of God's wrath, inebriate of air. Alluding to Emily Dickinson. It's a Disneyland of death, where the fireworks never end, but explode in your hand at 3, 6, and 10. But at 11, behind the 7-Eleven, you slam the last six-pack and watch the bobbing goddess gag and gurgle on your bottle. Then stop abruptly. You cry aloud in agony. Too late. Too late. Yes, I know. Who made a back alley blowjob look so appealing? That was me back then. Okay, I'm going to read two more poems, and I'm going to read this one dedicated to both Zach and Dustin.
Oh, wow.
Because it quotes Jim Morrison, and I know Dustin's getting ready to read from his Jim Morrison book in a minute. So this one's called "On Killing Living Things." How morality entered the picture, I'll never understand. It split the screen between the higher order of mammal, utilizing cognitive compassion, and the short, nasty brute no better than the animal he callously kills. Well, I sit here with a beer, watching TV, and the scene I'm seeing does appall me. Monkeys wiggle on unsterile tables as hammers crush their fragile eggshell skulls.
Right.
But bring this act into clearer focus. All natural law is artificial. Survival governs every living thing. As a swordfish